Hello and welcome. It is 2:42 p.m. Eastern on the 6th day of May 2021. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades amongst the like, each his own risk and their own reward. Going to show a bunch of charts and even talk about ratio trading a little bit. Bitcoin in at 55,700 ish. Weekly chart has it within the 18 average, and on the daily, I got this little graph in here. I can remove it, I suppose. You can see the sideways action, and interesting within this, we have this high, which is a higher high to this, and microscopically higher to that. This was microscopically higher to that one, and that was decently higher to that, and much higher on this one, so on and so forth. This low was lower than this, higher than this. So it was pretty good, but it could have been bigger, given lower, higher, lower, low, higher, low. And then it had a correctionary move. But as I mentioned, it's got to really hold and stay above like 57,000 change for a little while. We can see it's been resisting it, which is fine for now. But then we had this little move here, which a big red candle down, most certainly higher to this. And then this big rally that got it all back, still lower than the previous high here. And it's starting barely to sell off and much higher than this low right now. Okay, sideways action. It'll be very difficult from here to be talking about, oh yeah, we're going to do this and this and this and that. Even with this little down move here, okay. So what do we do? Do we correct, make a higher low, matching low, and then do we rally from here? I don't know. Even here, do we come back here and successfully test this? Or market will do what it does, and whatever it is what it is. Let's switch to alts. Cardano against the Bitcoin, 27.30 in the Satoshi level on the hourly time frame. Having a pretty decent day. We're tracing on this current hour. On the daily term, yeah, I like the setup. We established this high here in the end of February. A decent amount of correction or down moves that establishes that higher low, because you have a move from point A low at the end of the year, which is like 512, and you just do it like a 7x, 6x. I hope you make a higher low to that level. It's like pretty much a guarantee, and there's your higher low. And then continuous sideways correction within the 18. We can see in here, makes this high, lower high, lower high, matching those all the way through. This high, matching again in here, and all these sell-offs. This one that didn't hold, of course, just staying within that range. And then it has this move in here, but we can see how it corrects within the 18 highs where it came from. You shouldn't be surprised that we see this nice breakout on this newly rising 18 average and such because of the previous few days. And we take a look at this amongst the weekly. This is when it gets interesting for me because of the we have this down move, and you look at price action trying to get above the 18 average in here. Try as it did here. This one here, in this case, it kind of supported where we came from, which was kind of cool. So high or low. Then you have this little bit of action above the highs, and you crush resistance, which you can see was an area of lift-off support after the fact, and hasn't even came back to it because this move is barely higher than this, and still hasn't corrected there. All the strength amongst the 18 average of highs, and it's now just breaking out. How do you do? Question mark. Bitcoin Cash, oh boy, is this one ever volatile and making fantastic moves. It's managed to come up to this major level of resistance from May of 2020 to August, where it was just grinding in there at the 25 handle, which is where it is now. It got, what was this exact high compared to this one? This high here is, and I'm looking at it for the first time, at least now, 28.21 pretty much, and that's the high. 28.09, so 1/3, 1/4 of a like 0.4% away from this high. So pretty much matching this high level here. So how well it's still a long ways to go. That's pretty much at it. Just by looking at it, it looks like a 61.8% correction from this high to this low. So now any type of retracements in here, this 18 average on the weekly is a huge must-hold area within any corrections, at least on the now spot. But within the any type of short term, we can see that little congestion area here, which is represents this move. If there's within this big move that it had up 41% so far, if it comes back to where we came from, where is that? Well, 1735 up to 1950-ish or so. DGB, it's having a nice little pattern of higher highs and higher lows, but overall within this last little bit here, it's matched this little high area. And we look at this on the weekly. I mean, okay, yeah. But if it gets above it, well, maybe we can come and test these areas going to the 500s or so. If not, on the downside, important from correctionary move from around 70 to what the current high is in at, I got 311. So 311 divided by 68. Let's do that. So if we don't go any higher, and that's the high 311, the must hold area is in at 122, while other key areas are 217 and 174. So as it goes, we can see the 217 area has already been area where support has come into play. It's lifted off, retested that area, which is big. What's it done after the retest? It's come back and it's found support amongst the 18 and where we came from. And it's done so for a couple or three periods now. Well, this is a lot of information, a lot of stuff. This is awesome. Because now you're going to get a lot of a big move on either break. Because it's pretty much at the 18 average of closes now. So you get above here, I mean, after you make this move, higher low, retest, higher low, breakout, higher, huge setup. Or you have that spot where you have that retest. And that's what happens oftentimes that whenever you're going to have a point A low, point B high to point C low. So you go from point B high to point C low. That you have your high, correct it. You have like a matching high, lower high, but one that doesn't have a successful break above it. And then that's the falter one. So you see this thing faltering within the 18, but really amongst this major support around 200. And then you know that we're probably going to come down to like 150 maybe, or 140, 137, and have a much bigger correction. Or that whatever, that 6-1-8 down move it's going to hit. So it would be like 122, yeah. Next up, Doji. Don't know why I put the line at 533 before. I have no idea what it signifies. It's obviously been in an amazing run. And it's definitely been volatile. Price action 1247, down to 900, up to 1184. Yeah, doing its thing. But it's resisting the newly 18 support. Resisted again, and now we're seeing what looks like a bearish signal to me here. It's either because you have this major support established at 1020-ish. You obviously break below it within this period, and now you're back to that area, so we're looking at that as resistance. And so either it's a failed breakdown, or we're going to probably have moves at least another up like 12-13% in the next few hours from now. Or we're going to roll back down lower, and maybe we test in the 800s or so. Polkadot's been a seller for me. That's the next one here. I'm going to show everything pretty much that I trade. It's had a little bit of an up move, but I like how it looks, the setup. I mean, it's got to break this resistance for really good confirmation, but run the slot machine handle, all sevens. Resist once, resist twice, resist three times. Now it's making another move back up there. It gets above it. I mean, who knows? We could see like 12. Well, I could say it's maybe a 2, 3, 4x move possibly. H-bar, I've been buying this for the last couple of days because it hasn't been going up, but within the daily time frame, you get this downtrend, but this low. And so far, keep point A low, point B high. Now we're making point C low, which right now is here. If this falters, I would expect a decent chance of support there with what I'd be looking for resistance at 520. That's, of course, if that happens. Attempting to break it above the 18 average of highs, there's your retest high here, there, small attempt up in here. Barely having an attempt in this, not much of one, but it is making lower highs along the way. But at least right now, the 18 average of lows is flat. It's been holding in that area. If it does manage to have any type of moves and get above 600, then maybe it's got good potential for a good gain. Continuing in chronological order of names of these coins, next with the LLTC. A lot of this choppy up and down movement, but since then, that has kind of changed because now it's started making a nice pattern of higher highs, higher lows, primarily with as much of the moves, although a lot of choppy movement in here from April 15 to April 25. But it got above the 18 average of highs, and it's still holding in there really, really nicely. And when this thing goes, I should put I've already done it before, but the Poloniex charts are better. But it does look to me as if this thing is ready for a big move amongst the weekly, because we've had all this down moves, and again, look at what these things do amongst and after a downtrend was trying to break the 18. So in here has a significant okay move, but that was it, and ultimately it became a failure on longer time frame or like the monthly kind of deal. Not holding we're in the areas where you'd want to. Attempt to get above here. Nope. And resist the highs in here, barely getting above it. Many weeks try to get above this, but not by much, and definitely not getting above it. But here it gets above it, and then we can see 2 periods holding and staying above it before this current one. How do you do? Question mark. Next up is T-Fuel, and then Theta will be after that. Well, what else do I need to say about this? Oh, by the way, 18 average of lows here. Hit this high over 1,000. After it hit this low, it closed the week amongst the 18 average of highs. Small lift off on the previous week, and it's hanging in there pretty good. It's given a lot of decent amount of retracement back, but nothing too big. I like how it's showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs right now on the daily. Just saying, it's I don't know if it means anything, and I might be lying when I say that, because I can be sarcastic at times. It's a good setup. We'll see what happens. Theta. Hanging in there within the 18. A little bit of a downtrend, but it's pretty much sideways. I've been getting, right now, what I've been hoping for. A little bit of it. It's just starting to come pretty good right now. Theta had this fantastic move. March going from like 6,400 up to 25,000. And yeah, it was selling for the coins all the way up, even selling at 9,000, selling at 12, 14, 16, 18, all the way to the top. Anytime there's a good differential in the spreadsheet I'll show you soon, I made a trade. But what I'm hoping for is, well, Theta's been up a lot. Why not have everything else go up and this just go sideways? And then that'd be a good way to get my buybacks. And today's been a good Theta, and the last couple of days as well. Last 3 or 4 days have been good Theta buy days, even though Theta's just doing nothing the last little bit. And the final one on my list is Teslas, and boy, well. 1865 is the next target. We should probably see that in the next 3 or who knows, in the next 1 or 2 days, but probably should see it within the next couple of weeks. And I'm thinking like 3, 4, 5, 6 days. The Fibonacci on here: 23.6, 38.2, 61.8, 76.4. I've already explained why those are the numbers. So you can calculate them. It's mathematical with a calculator. And first one, it resists it perfectly pretty much, comes down, then it pierces above it, then just chops around with it. It has a failed breakdown in February of 2021, or this year. And then we resist the 38.2 on February the 15th. Have very poor support on the 23.6, thus it's looking near, oh my goodness, this could be bad. Come up here, resist this, and then March of this year, okay, we could be going lower, which we didn't do, because it came down here. Then we come up to this. It's a lot of times if this is going to be a down move, we're going to resist this at the lows and then proceed lower, or even at the highs. But it resisted the highs and then it stayed there, which was, I'm not going to say that's bullish. Of course it is right now, but it really turned that negative sentiment or the negative bearish pattern into neutrality. So adjusting to the message of the market. If you got a short sentiment here in March, this is where, okay, time to adjust to the message of the market. It's not doing the resistance stuff it's supposed to, which means if you were short at any of these points on the breakdown at like 675, it lets you get out with only like a 8% loss compared to what it could be now. And then we can see here on March 29th and 30th how it was changing the story. Instead of resisting the 18 average of highs, it was congesting and supporting it, and then within the next 2 days after that, March 31st, April 1st, it was attempting to break above it, and the 18 average was barely rising. And then it had a good move, almost hitting this Fibonacci, but it did break above it on April 10th, successfully supporting. Another resistance test, successful support here, April 23rd through April 25th. And then we look at the dates as it gets up on the 26th of this high, so from the 27th through that, if I'm going to say the 1st of May. with especially an April 30th date, because just going sideways. Now, April 30th, it established a little bit of a high that, if you look at the 4-hour, 1 hour, you'd see a bit better, or you'd see more better, finer details. But you can see that it got above it in these 2 days here, kind of supporting this little area. And then you have these 2 days on May the 3rd and 4th, get to the 18 average of highs, and then a whole day at the high. And it just happened on this day so far today and yesterday. Up 11.5 to yesterday, 13 and 2/3 so far as of almost 3 p.m. now. And yeah, that's got the break. So we've now, it's made a statement. Oh, it's broken out above it. I don't day trade like this, but I would think there's a spot where you buy here, you look to sell above here, and how you want to play your risk part of it. I don't play it. That's your choice. But I'd have to think this is a day trade type situation. Now, for me, I like to just trade coins with other coins like Tezos and Theta. And its ratio is 0.67, which means that within if you have 0.67 Theta or 0.68, they'll get you 1 Tezos. Or vice versa, back and forth, whichever way you're doing it. Even down to 0.29, 2.3. Oh, yeah, at one point it was up to like 11. The volatility, yeah, that's what it is. So you get down here, you get to the 18, a little bit of higher lows and higher highs, but not much. The move from here went from like 0.85 up to like 1.7, not quite 2x, or basically around 2x. But the move down, of course, you're talking 0.3 from like 20. That's like a 60, 70 times move. Or that's how much more Theta overperformed Tezos from point high, which is the April of 2020, or about a little over a year ago, to just a month and a half ago. So in a span of almost a year, it did that type of move. Can it do on the other side, like a 30x, 20, 40, 50x move? Who knows? But whenever the numbers work for me, I'm going to play it. And it's in an interesting situation because I just divide one coin by the other to get a ratio and work from there. So I make a spreadsheet here, which I manually put in these prices. These are the coins that I either hold or trading. I'm actually trying to get, I've been getting out of Bitcoin Cash, but I'm still waiting. I probably should do it soon to, I got 2 more sales left to get out of it, but I'm not trading it against anything in particular. Same thing on Bitcoin, other than a couple plays here and there. But I put the numbers in, and I also need to put this in for value of what things are worth. Polkadot, Litecoin, all of this stuff, gold and silver as well. And then I got all my ratios in here where, 15% moves are getting close. 20% against Litecoin. I kind of want 30 on this move though. But the one that I really want to focus on is this one here against XTZ. Because within such, it works out just trying to get free coins. In bold, that means my plants, as I've talked about before, have been completed. In that, the trade made today included trading 143 Tezos twice over, or 286, and getting close to 100 Theta, which was finishing off these plants here where I received I sold 140 Theta, and I basically got that number there. So 30 or so free Tezos, and that was just a nice little flip. That's close to 60 Theta. 70 to 100, that's like 30 times it by 2. And even this one here, this is a spot. The ratio's at like 6.7, 6.9. I could flip this one too if I want. But I didn't. I decided not to. And then if this thing happens to like go back down because Theta's like kicking ass, well, I'll just sell like maybe 80 of them for whatever I get if this goes like, I don't know, 0.5 or whatever the next number lower would be. 0.52, 0.54. Everything from March the 21st, it's just got 140 of each for free. And the way I look at it, if you're hodling different coins and you like this coin, that coin, that coin, that coin, that coin, whatever, trade one with the other. And then just let them flip back and forth and whichever way the market moves. the market moves. I'm not trying to predict it. I'm just going to see, okay, what's this thing go to? If this thing goes up to like, say, if this thing goes like 74, 75, 76, I'm going to flip that last trade I showed then probably. And then as it keeps going, there was times where I aggressively just took out some of the theta and turned it into Teslas, and you just keep doing that over and over again. Then the numbers will just do what the numbers do. But we'll finish this off now within BTC dominance. And it hasn't been as dominant. 45.5 right now. Look at this on the 18 though. If you ever want to say an extreme measure of, oh, you've been showing weakness at the 18 for so long and grinding lower at a precipitous rate. Starting its grind around the second week of April, we're saying here at around 57. But is it finished? I mean, this is a pretty decent decline May 3rd to now. Starting even May the 2nd. Well, I guess the day before that, but from the 18 average of highs. But it goes down to like half. I mean, it lost like 10% or so just grinding its way for a couple of weeks or so. Altcoins doing better than Bitcoin. And now just constant down. This is down 5.1. Then down 3 2/3. Almost 6. Then 2 2/9. And then 4 4/9 down. So far this one is 7 2/5. We'll go 7 2/9 again. Noticeably breaking this level of resistance. Or support rather. Noticeably breaking this whole barrier of support between 50 2/3 and 53 3/4. What's next on the horizon? I guess the range between 39 and 35. And I suppose the all-time lows. This is going to be an interesting situation. How I calculate Fibonacci in a percentage term for a downside move, I'm getting some ideas in my head how I think it works. I just don't think using the 72 divided by that was going to work. Because this isn't set up in like a normal like market where 7% up will take a unit and move it up and down to this level, and it doesn't have a maximum high and low number really. I mean, it can go to infinity to the most part, the upside, like 100,000 million, 20 million, trillion, so on. On the downside, I mean, those numbers can go just as big on the downside, meaning you go to zero. You go zero. Well, before you go to zero, you go to 1, and after 1, you go down to a half. And then 1/10, 1/50th, 1,000th, if you look at it that perspective. Don't think that the percentages, maybe it would, but I do have some mathematical ideas. And just taking other numbers and then using the Fibonacci calculations in comparison. But I would just think, just by looking at this, that quarter seems about right if it breaks the support. The next big support is, this range between 40 and 37. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.